Hello friends, and welcome back to another Crafts with Ash. Today is my second installment of Elf on the Shelf ideas. Today we're going to make some really cute accessories that you can use in your elf vignette. So without further ado, let's get started. The first one, I thought it might be fun to make an elf bed. Now, my daughter still does take naps, and to entice her to go take a nap, I thought I would make a bed for the elf so she could also take a nap. So here's what I did. I took one of these plastic plates from the Dollar Tree, it looks like a candy wrapper, and some leftover fabric that my mom had from making face masks. I hot glued the fabric around one side of the rim of the plastic candy dish. After my fabric was all glued down, I took my scissors and I wanted to give the bottom of this fabric scalloped edges to kind of make it look like a bed skirt. So I just rounded off the bottom of that fabric. Now to cover the raw edges of that dish where the fabric comes up, I took some tinsel ribbon that I got from the Dollar Tree and hot glued it all the way around the top of that bed. Then I also went around the front of it too to hide any of the raw edges. Now, of course, no elf bed is complete without a cute little pillow. So I took some of that extra fabric that I used for the bed skirt and I cut it in a long rectangular shape. Then I put hot glue at the bottom sections on the side and folded it down, just gluing the sides. The bottom, of course, is already connected because it's folded. Then I took some cotton balls and I stuffed them in there. And then I hot glued the top and cut off any excess fabric. After my pillow was complete, I went ahead and took her bed and took Twinkles, my elf, and stuck her in it. Now for the blanket, I just used some extra fabric, again, that my mom had left over. Now I realized that her eyes were always open, so I had to make an eye mask. To do this, I just grabbed some extra fabric and I cut off a little rectangle. Then I shaped it into the form of an eye mask. At this point, I wasn't really sure how I was going to get it on her head, so I just decided to take some of that tinsel ribbon again, and I hot glued the end of it to one side of the face mask. Then you're going to see here that I actually cut that small piece of ribbon in half and hot glue each end to each end of the face mask. I hope that makes sense. Hopefully visually you'll understand what I mean. So now I have a cute little eye mask that I can just tie around back. And that completes my little elf bed for Twinkles the elf. What do you think? For this next elf accessory, I thought she should have her own Christmas tree. So I took one of these tinsel Christmas trees from the Dollar Tree, a strand of bulb lights, and some gold cardstock. I simply put some batteries in those lights, wrapped the lights around the tree, and then I took that gold cardstock and I used a plastic wand here to trace out a star because I'm just terrible at drawing. So I traced out my star, cut it out, and hot glued it to the top. And that completed my little Christmas tree for my elf. I added a mini tree skirt onto a table and set my tree up. This was perfect for day 2 of Twinkles the Elf because she was going to bring my daughter her own Christmas tree to decorate that day. What do you think? For my next DIY elf accessory, I thought it might be fun to make Twinkles the elf a ladder. So I took 2 of these large candy canes and these white and red straws from the Dollar Tree, and I hot glued a straw to each candy cane, making it in the shape of a ladder. Now, such an easy concept turned out to be such a pain. You're going to see me struggle here. So at first I started with just trying to hold the candy canes up and hot gluing each end of a straw to the candy canes. The problem was that it was hard for me to hold them up and make sure that they didn't fall, that the candy canes didn't fall. So this was kind of difficult. So you're going to see this kind of fall apart here in a minute. And there it goes. So next I decided, okay, I'm gonna do this upside down. I put that little box in between, which I'll be using in a DIY in a later video, but I put it in between to kind of keep it all together. But as you can see, that didn't work either. So third time's a charm. What I decided to do was, for the first straw up top, I decided just to tape each end of the straw to each candy cane. That way it gave it some stability. Then as that was taped together, I simply took the rest of my straws, and it was so much easier for me to hot glue them on there because I didn't have to worry about keeping the top one from falling apart. So as you can see, I just took my hot glue and kind of glued them going cockeyed, so at an angle all the way down my candy canes. Now, my daughter was convinced that the elves had been watching her since Halloween in the heat vents. So I thought it was perfect to take one of the heat vents off and put the ladder coming out of the heat vent to show her that the elves really were watching her. And what you're about to see is the day 1 setup when she first got introduced to Twinkles the elf. What do you think? real quickly before I end this video, I just wanted you to take a look at the paper that I had been using to write my notes from Twinkles the Elf. I got this pad at Hobby Lobby and I loved it so much because at the bottom it actually says Santa's Toy Factory, and it looks like it actually came from the North Pole. You may have also noticed that Twinkles the Elf got a little merry makeover. I actually have a video of that I'll link in the description below. I want to thank you so much for joining me for this Elf on the Shelf tutorial of elf accessories. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, then hop over to Facebook and give my Facebook page Crafts with Ash a like and a follow. I have lots more fun ideas to come, so please join me again. Until next time, I'll craft with you soon. Bye!